The first phrase, kind of. She is kind of weird. What does kind of mean? Normally, when we say kind of, we mean a little, right? A little. She's a little weird. However, sometimes, for me, and not just me, maybe for some other people, we might say kind of when we mean very, and we're just trying to be polite, right? If I tell someone, you look kind of messy today, I might mean that this person looks very messy, but I'm being polite and saying kind of. So it can mean a little or very, depending on how you use it. The next phrase is, are you serious? Right? We use this in a couple different ways. Often if it's something we find hard to believe, we might say, are you serious? Like, for example, if you told me my boss fired me because I went to the bathroom at work without asking for permission. That seems extreme, right? I might say, are you serious? Or maybe you told me 20 times you were going to wash the dishes, and I come home and the dishes are not washed. I might say, are you serious? The next phrase is fun to be with, right? What do you think that means if I say someone is fun to be with? If someone is fun to be with, normally we enjoy hanging out with that person. They are enjoyable to us, right? Joe is fun to be with. We like to go out and drink beer, right? It means you have an enjoyable time with that person. Okay, the next one is deal with it, right? This is something that you might have to do. Maybe you don't want to do it, but you have to deal with it. Right, my teacher gave me a 5-page essay and it's due tomorrow. I guess I'll just have to deal with it, right? Or if maybe you're a boss and your employee complains about something that he or she has to do, you might just say, yeah, I'm sorry, it's your job, deal with it. Okay, our next phrase is get together. What does get together mean? Get together means hang out with or spend time with someone or a group of people, right? I might say every Friday night, my friends and I get together at the bar and we have a few beers. Or I want to get together with Joe this weekend and see a movie. It could also be in a romantic way to get together with someone, right? Last weekend, I got together with Susie finally. Maybe I've been trying to date her for a while. Usually it's not romantic, but sometimes people will use it in a romantic fashion. Okay, our last one here is, it's bad enough that. This is something when you're going to be maybe complaining about more than one thing. Someone has been doing something or their situation has been bad already, but then something else happens, right? Usually you're going to mention two things. So you'll say the first thing, it's bad enough that the first thing, and then you might mention the second thing. For example, a teacher talking to a student might say, it's bad enough that you're late for class, but you also never do your homework, right? So you're listing at least two things, probably just two things, right? It's bad enough that, but also that. Okay, guys, we're trying to keep these ones short, maybe just about 5 or 6 minutes. So those are your 6 phrases for today. We'll be doing others in the future, so keep a lookout for them. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
I don't like this lesson.
It's bad enough you don't pay attention, but now you're complaining. Deal with it. Our first phrase today is judge others by their looks. You might have heard the expression judging a book by its cover. That means deciding whether or not you like someone based on their appearance and not their personality. The second one today, feel stressed or feeling stressed. I feel stressed. That basically means you have anxiety. You're under some sort of mental or emotional pressure. For example, I have a lot of work lately. That makes me feel stressed. Next, we have put on makeup or wear makeup. Basically, that's what girls do these days, maybe sometimes boys too. It's cosmetics that normally women put on their face, like lipstick or eyeliner. That's putting on makeup. Wearing it just means it's on you. She wears a lot of makeup. Okay, take the place of. That means basically to replace something, right? A few years ago, people used to write letters. They don't do that anymore. Today, email takes the place of letters. Okay, the next one is gain weight. That basically means to get fatter, right? I broke up with my girlfriend because she gained weight. I'm kidding, that's mean. After drinking a lot of cola, the boy gained weight. The next one, finally get a chance to do something. This means it's something that you have not been able to do for whatever reason. Often it might be because you don't have time, right? I've been so busy at work the last few weeks, but I get a week off and I finally get a chance to go fishing.
Did you notice something different about me today?
What, did you gain some weight?
No, I'm wearing makeup today.
God, don't talk like that. It makes me feel stressed. Okay, 6 phrases today again. Hi guys, Hades here. Let's look at the 6 phrases. Number 1, I have to admit it. People say that when they're giving information they maybe don't want to give. Maybe they feel embarrassed or guilty, or they just don't want you to know about it for some reason. But the circumstances dictate that they have to tell you, right? I have to admit it, I made a mistake. Number 2, whether you like it or not. This is usually used just to basically explain a truth to someone, something they cannot change, right? I have this weekend off to go camping. However, it's going to rain all weekend. But, I guess we have to go camping whether you like it or not because this is the only time I have off. Your boss might tell you, okay, you have to finish all this paperwork before you go home today, whether you like it or not. It's usually something you won't like. Number 3, go overboard. Now, literally, this means go overboard as in going off a ship, falling off a ship. They might, if you fell off a ship in the ocean, they might say he went overboard, right? He's gone. However, when we use this figuratively, it means to go to excess, too much, right? Don't spend too much money when you go shopping. Don't go overboard. Number 4, get on my nerves. This means something that maybe annoys you or irritates you, right? My brother always comes into my room and messes up my papers. That really gets on my nerves. Number 5, not as good as I thought. This means basically something is not as good as you supposed. It's not as good as you thought it would be or wanted it to be. An example would be the trailer to the movie looked really good. Then when I watched the movie, it was not as good as I thought it would be. Number 6, the last one today. I've got a problem. This is pretty self-explanatory. When something goes wrong, when there's an issue, you could say, I've got a problem, right? You might try to go to work and your car has a flat tire. You might call your boss and say, I'm going to be late. I'm sorry. I've got a problem.
I have to admit that this video is not as good as I thought.
I don't really care whether you like it or not. Yeah, you really get on my nerves. All right, our first phrase today is feel strongly about. If you feel strongly about something, you have a definite opinion on it. For example, I really feel strongly about my political opinions. Okay, our second one today is get out of my hair or get out of someone's hair. This one basically means something is annoying, or usually someone is annoying you or bothering you. You might say, get out of my hair. That means stop pestering me, stop annoying me. Ask someone out. This is our third one today. Ask someone out. That basically means to, usually for guys, but it can be girls, to ask a girl out on a date, or maybe the girl asks the guy out. Traditionally, it's the man. These days, sometimes girls ask guys out too. But if you ask someone out, you're asking them out on a date. This is almost always a romantic thing. I want to ask out Anne. Our next one is there is no excuse for. This basically means someone has done something bad or wrong, right? You might say there's no excuse for that, especially if the person is trying to make excuses, right? Maybe a mother says to her child, there's no excuse for your room being this messy, because the child's trying to explain why it's that messy. Our next one is might as well. Sometimes people might say may as well. Basically, it's used to say that something should be done, right? It should be done maybe because it can't be avoided, or maybe because there's no good reason not to do it, right? Okay, I might as well wash the dishes because I have nothing else to do. And our last one today, with that said. Basically, it's another way to say but, right? You're going to maybe contradict what you just said. Another way to say that is also having said that, right? The movie was boring. Having said that, the special effects were very good. Or maybe, she's so lazy. With that said, she's still a very nice person. Okay, thanks, guys. See you in the next one.
Hey, you look cute. I want to ask you out.
Get out of my hair.
Come on, please.
I don't have anything else to do, so I might as well. Our first phrase today is, it's been so long since. Now, this one is pretty simple. You should already know what it means, but it's something we commonly say in English, right? This means it's been a long time since something has happened. It's been so long since, right? If you see your friend you haven't seen in a few years, you might say, wow, man, it's been so long since I've seen you. Our second phrase today is give me a break. This is an idiom, and we'll talk more about those in a future lesson. Give me a break usually means that you don't believe someone. If someone tells you something to be untrue, maybe you think they're lying, or maybe you think they're joking. You might say, give me a break. It could also mean that someone is annoying you or bothering you, right? If your little brother keeps going into your room, you might say, give me a break. Our third phrase today is sneak in. This means to do something quietly or secretly, usually going inside somewhere, right? I'm going to sneak into her bedroom tonight. The next phrase is the way I see it. This is just where you're preemptively telling someone you're going to give your opinion, right? You say that before you give an opinion. The way I see it, Star Wars is awesome. The fifth one today is a slip of the tongue. This means to basically say something by accident. Some people might believe that it means a slip of the tongue might mean to reveal a secret, but technically it doesn't. It just means to say something by mistake. What do you want to eat for dinner tonight? Oh, I want to eat my dog. I want to eat a hot dog, right? You say something on accident. It's not revealing that you really want to eat your dog. And our last one today, our sixth phrase is ramp up. If something is ramping up, it is increasing. So ramp up means to increase, right? If your business is doing really well, you might say, oh, wow, sales are ramping up. Okay, guys, thank you. Hopefully, I will see you next time.
Hey, Benjamin. It's been so long since I've seen you.
Larry, give me a break. We just saw each other 2 weeks ago.
No, it has been so long.
The way I see it, 2 weeks is not a long time. Hey guys, Hades here. Our first one is on edge. On edge means to be nervous or worried, maybe even a little irritable, right? If you see someone acting strangely, right, looking around or sweating, you might say, you look like you're on edge. Number 2 for today is speak of the devil. This is actually a shortened version of speak of the devil and he will appear. Usually we use this when we're talking about someone and then we actually see that person, right? If we're having a conversation and I say, oh, you know what Jack did last week? And then Jack walks in the room. I'm like, oh, speak of the devil. We were just talking about Jack. The next one is cut me some slack. You might sometimes hear people say, give me some slack, but it's usually cut me some slack. That means to treat someone in a less harsh or critical way, right? If your friend keeps complaining to you about something you did, you might say, okay, I'm sorry, cut me some slack. The next one is if you say so. That usually means you maybe sort of agree, right? Maybe, but you don't really agree, right? You might just say that there's a lack of agreement, but you're going to just accept what this person says, right? If your friend says, oh, I don't know, I want to invest all my money in this stupid idea. And you say, well, that's not a good idea. And they say, no, this person promised me that I'd make a lot of money. And I might say, okay, if you say so, that means, go ahead and do it, but I don't really agree. The next one is take it easy. That basically means just to relax or become calm and unexcited, right? If your friend is yelling and screaming or something, you might say, whoa, take it easy, man. And our last one for today is call it a day. Basically, it means to end something, end an activity. You might do that at work, right? It's time to go home. Your boss might say, okay, let's call it a day. Or if you're working on a project with your friend, maybe building a shed or something in your backyard, and you're about done working for that day, you might say, okay, let's call it a day. All right, thanks, guys.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Let's call it a day.
Okay.
This
is horrible. Stop, man. We already got that.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. This is horrible. Stop.
It's not horrible.
We got the other one. The other one's better than this. Jesus Christ. Hey guys, Hades here. Another 6 phrases today. Today we're going to look a little bit at phrasal verbs. Phrasal verb is basically a phrase that acts like a verb. It's going to have 2 or more words in it, usually just 2. There's going to be a verb and a preposition, maybe sometimes an adverb, maybe sometimes both. Again, mostly it's just 2 words, but there can be phrasal verbs that are more than 2 words. Okay, today our first one is turn on. Now, this is probably pretty simple. A lot of you might know it, but it's got more than one definition. The first one, turn on, is basically to activate or cause something to operate or work. For example, turn on the lights, right? Then we also have something that might be pleasurable, right? You could say the music turns her on. And this one can also be something that maybe gets someone a little excited sexually. This also can be turned on. All right, our next one for today is knock off. Right? Knock off, to do something routinely or quickly, right? I knocked off a lot of those today. Or to stop something, right? I knocked off work at 5 o'clock. And it could also mean to reduce, right? Or deduct something. I knocked off a little to make the price more attractive. And knock off can also be the verb of the noun knock off. The noun knock off would be something fake, right? But we could also use that as a verb. This company knocks off popular fashion designs. Okay, the next one is run out. First one maybe to come to an end or stop, right? I ran out of time. Or to become exhausted or used up. Right? I ran out of money, or I ran out of gasoline. Our next one today is get through. The first definition would be to reach a destination, right? To get to where you're going. We got through the hike today and made it to the end. Okay, another definition is to become clear or understood, right? I told him to stop wasting his money, and I finally got through to him. Now he doesn't do that anymore. And the last one is basically to be able to talk to someone, to be able to communicate, right? I tried calling him all day, and I didn't hear from him, but finally that night I got through to him. Okay, our next one today is carry on. This one can mean to continue doing something. Carry on my wayward son. Just kidding, that's a song. Carry on my wayward son. Right, he carried on despite the fact everyone was against him. He kept doing it. And also it means to do something maybe that annoys people or is improper or foolish. He's always talking in class, carrying on too much, right? Okay, our last one today is come across, right? Come across can mean to produce an impression, right? He came across as a nice person. And it could also mean to encounter someone or meet someone. I came across Bob today. Okay, guys, that'll do it for today. These are phrasal verbs for 6 phrases today. Thank you.
Wow, we really come across as professional.
Across.
Wow, we really come across as professional today. It really turns me on.
Knock it off. Hey guys, Hades here. This will be 6 phrases today, number 8. Last time we talked about phrasal verbs. Today I want to talk about idioms. Idioms are expressions that have a meaning that is not obvious from the individual words. For example, the idiom drive someone round the bend means to make someone angry or frustrated. But we cannot know this just by looking at the words. Let me give you another example. There's an idiom in English called piece of cake. Now, we have literal definitions and figurative definitions of some words. Literally, a piece of cake would mean there's a cake and you cut a portion of it off. Now you have a piece of cake. That would be the literal definition. But the figurative definition, the idiom, means something that's easy. When someone says piece of cake, they mean something that's easy. So idioms have evolved in the language to not take on their literal meaning. Right? Today we're going to look at 6 idioms in English. Okay, so our first idiom today is on top of the world. Right? On top of the world. Basically, that's a pretty easy one. On top of the world just means very happy or elated, right? On top of the world. She loves sweets so much, and when she ate the cake, she was on top of the world. Number 2 is rub someone the wrong way. Rub someone the wrong way. That basically means to cause someone to be angry, right? His wife complained so much and it really rubbed him the wrong way. Number 3 today is know something inside and out, or know something inside out. That basically means to know something very well, know every detail about it. I've known my best friend since we were 5 years old, and there's nothing he doesn't tell me. I know him inside and out. Number 4, rings a bell, right? Someone will say that, oh, okay, that rings a bell. So usually we say that rings a bell, or whatever we're talking about rings a bell. That means that someone has a vague memory of something, but can't remember it exactly. So if someone asks you, hey, have you ever read Jack Kerouac's On the Road? And maybe you did, or maybe you've heard of it and you haven't read it, but you can barely remember what you know about it. You might say, that rings a bell. Okay, number 5, pretty easy one. give it a shot, right? Give something a shot or give it a shot. Basically, that means just to try something, right? Try it. Okay, let's say you take your friend fishing. Your friend has never been fishing before. You tell him everything you need to do, right? How to cast a line out into the water. And once you've told him and he says, okay, what do I do now? You might just say, give it a shot. It means to try it. Try to start doing it. And number 6, the last one for today. You can say that again. That basically means that the person agrees with you, right? Or someone says something that you agree with. Wow, it's really cold out today. Yeah, it is. You can say that again. Okay, that will be it, guys. Thank you so much. Of course, we still have the little dialogue coming up. Bye-bye.
Hi, Benjamin. How are you?
I was on top of the world until you came along.
I rubbed you the wrong way?
You can say that again. Hey guys, Hades here. We're doing another 6 phrases today. Our first phrase today is skeletons in the closet. That means a secret. Usually something bad, not a nice secret. Usually something bad or something embarrassing, right? I know she was pretty wild in her youth. She must have a lot of skeletons in her closet. Our second phrase today, let sleeping dogs lie. This is an old proverb. We haven't really talked about proverbs too much. We did idioms and phrasal verbs, but a proverb is a type of idiom. I'll talk more about it maybe in another lesson. But let sleeping dogs lie means to avoid interfering with something or avoid bothering someone or a situation so that you don't cause further problems. Maybe you might say, oh, my wife was really mad at me. I should apologize, but she's still mad, so I'm going to let sleeping dogs lie. Our third phrase today is no good deed goes unpunished. You also might hear people shorten it to just no good deed. This is maybe kind of a sarcastic saying when someone does something good, but something bad happens to them. Like maybe the person they're doing good for does not appreciate it, or maybe they want more of the good thing you did, or it's just something completely different happens, right? Let's say you give a homeless person some money, and then 50 homeless people swarm you and start begging for money and clawing at you. You could say no good deed goes unpunished. It means you try to do something good, but it backfires and something bad happens to you. Our fourth phrase today is turn up the heat. Right? That means to increase in intensity, right? Or to apply more pressure to something, right? For example, if you're torturing someone for information and someone says, okay, turn up the heat, that means torture them more or harder, right? So it means to increase intensity or pressure. Our fifth phrase today is kick rocks. That basically means go away, right? Or F off. Right? It's a rude way to say go away. Kick rocks. So, for example, if someone asks you for something and you're angry at them and you don't want to give it to them, you can say kick rocks. Or another one is pound sand or F off. Okay, our sixth and final phrase for today is steer clear. Steer clear means to get or keep away from something. Right? I might say, whoa, steer clear of Janet today. She's in a bad mood. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Do you have any skeletons in your closet?
I don't think you want to know the answer to that. It's better to let sleeping dogs lie.
Are you sure about that?
Go kick rocks, man. Hey, guys. Hades here. Okay, today we're doing another 6 phrases today, and this is the 10th video in this series. Our first phrase today is get the better of. This means to sometimes win an advantage over, defeat, or outwit something, right? For example, if I said, okay, John and I played poker, I'm a much better player, so I got the better of him. Our second phrase today is open book. right? It's someone or maybe even a thing that is easily understood or interpreted or that has no secrets, right? For example, you can ask me anything. I'm an open book. Our third phrase today is burnt out, or it can also be burnout, right? It means to be completely exhausted, very tired, usually through overwork. Or sometimes it means when a building has been completely demolished and only the frame remains. We could say the building was burned out. But the figurative way I use it more often is burnt out, right? I worked very hard today. I'm burnt out. Our next phrase today is by any chance, right? By any chance. It basically means something possible. And when we use this in English, it's usually in the form of a question, right? So it means it's something possible. So I might say, hey man, by any chance do you have $5 I can borrow? Our fifth phrase today is couldn't care less, right? And actually, if you pay attention to that, you could probably figure out what it means. And you sometimes might hear people also say, I could care less. Basically, it means the same thing. You should say I couldn't care less, actually. It makes more sense. But it means something that doesn't matter to you, you're not at all concerned about, something you just don't care about, right? I really hate my ex-wife. I couldn't care less what she's doing. Our last and sixth phrase today is bring oneself to do something. This means to force yourself or force oneself to do something. Maybe it is something you don't want to do. Maybe it's boring, or maybe it's dangerous. It's unpleasant, something you do not want to do. I didn't get any sleep last night. I don't know if I could bring myself to get out of bed. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, man, I just worked for 20 hours. I'm burnt out.
By any chance, do you want to go for a walk?
I can't bring myself to go for a walk right now, man. I couldn't care less about walking.